Now, from infrastructure, healthcare, education, and the economy, our development is often driven by the political choices, rhetorics, and activities that do take place in the country. But is there a nexus between politics and development in the country? That is the question that we shall be unpacking tonight with my guests who are joining me tonight in studio, Mr. Nehemiah Kiarie, who is a governance expert, and Mr. Moses Nyanduka, who is a student leader and an aspiring politician. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. And let me start with you, Mr. Moses Nyanduka. Has Kenya's political landscape changed since 2013, and how has that affected development countrywide?
Yes, I do support that. The ever-changing Kenya's political landscape since 2013 has made it very much easy for some of the long-term marginalized areas in the Republic of Kenya to easily access some of the government services. From the so-called the brainchild of development, we can see, especially in the northern frontier, when it comes to health sector, when it comes to education, especially at the nursery level, which constitutionally is mandated for the county governments, we can see an improvement. And talking about this, especially even in the Nairobi County, we have seen several factors. Apart from education, garbage collection, it has improved. But again, in the real sense, it has made some of the tasks to be very, very much difficult, owing in mind high rate of corruption in some of the countries nationally.
So yes. just on that, let Mr. Nehemiah Kiarie just jump in a little bit. You know, from 2013, since the advent of devolution, we have seen numerous elections and we have seen numerous political rhetoric.
True.
As far as your view is concerned, is the development in the country matching or rather are they intertwined with politics in the country?
Okay, the development has been so much too slow because you find that the politicians are giving promises that they can't be able to fulfill. Maybe they can be able to fulfill one or two towards the coming of the election. So it is just an election cycle that makes sure that the politician or the leader is elected another time. But the progressive agenda or the development agenda is too slow.
Now, over the past 1 month, there have been a lot of empowerment programs run by state-allied members of parliament and politicians, giving a lot of thousands to, let's say, women, boda, list as empowerment programs. And in those ceremonies, we see a lot of politics in them. Do you think that this is just a short-term political ambition laced in development?
Yes, it's short term. In the case that it has happened even where I come from in Thika, just during the weekend, whereby boda operators and women and youth were being assembled, and then they were told they were empowered. But if you look at it deep from a critical angle, you find that they were just given 500, 1,000, monies that maybe even they can eat, but not invest to start up a business. So in this case, they are not being empowered. They're just given some goodies that they can be able to continue to support the government.
Do you think, Mr. Moses, do you think that the empowerment drive going through in the country by state actors is a ceremony that is laced, is more of short-sighted political agenda of a personal of a person?
Yes, I do think that these kerfuffle in the name of empowerment are just personal interest politically. They're just baits to act as a ground for 2027 election campaigns. Because, for instance, we cannot give a boda rider 1,000 and call it empowerment. At the same time, we talk about Mama Mboga empowerment. You know, SMEs, small and medium enterprises, they do deal with policies. For you to empower somebody, you must have a serious legal framework underlined. But generally, I think all these movements in part of the country in the name of empowerment, they're politically ignited towards 2027 to be specific in this case.
Now, there have been a lot of rhetorics, especially from one of the leaders in the mountain, that development or empowerment drives are skewed against their region. Do you see to it that since other communities are not allied to the government, are they sidelined as far as, for example, infrastructural development is concerned?
Yes, I do believe. Politics being all about numbers, it's a game of thrones. And the Kenya's political landscape since independence has been molded in a manner whereby the government is like a company, just the same way some of the government officials have said before. Being like a company in that if you vote me today, tomorrow I'll have a look at you with a good eye when it comes to development. So we have seen a situation whereby these things we call development, in fact they're not development, majority of them. Because when we talk about development, it should be sustainable.
But you're saying that this is pat my back, I pat your back situation. But the,
Yes.
the constitution guarantees every part of the country to have development, especially infrastructure, whether you voted the government in or not.
Yes, true. But the devolved units for the county, they do perform them as mandated by the constitution. But when it comes now to the lion's share, with the national government has full control over, you'll realize they do prefer some of the regions which voted them in during their elections.
Now, Mr. Nehemiah, do you think
Yes.
that the government is skewed in terms of resource allocation?
Yes, true. It's skewed because you find that when they are allocating these resources, they check or they put it on an angle whereby that area or that county government, the region supported the government in one way. So in case that this party do not support the government, they are put aside, especially the marginalized areas, and they don't get the full development or support that requires from the national government.
But you realize that we have devolved units which do derive funds from the national treasury, and they're supposed to put those funds into good use?
In our case, like right now, currently, you find that all these development or devolved units, for example, the county governments, they are getting monies from the national government. And the national government is allocating the money depending on if you support the government. If you don't support, you find that the resources that you are being allocated to, they are few. So it also supports the way the development is run throughout the country.
But every other county gets equal share and some equitable revenue, right?
True, yes, yes. It happens, but you find that still the government is also being able to manipulate like delays from the treasury. This makes the county to have a go slow in the development.
Mr. Nehemiah, I think you can come in here because most of the counties, of course, they want, they say they want an increase in terms of resource allocation.
Yes,
but what they have, the Auditor's General report does not give a very positive report on how they have utilized those resources.
True. This is because of high rates of corruption. Recently, we have found that governors have been arrested and been apprehended in the ACC. They are caught by the DCI because of corruption cases. And when you go to their houses, you find there's a lot of cash money that is found there. So this money they use not necessarily for development. They are also offering goodies to their loyalties, and also the others they steal and take to other places.
In terms of?
You find that in this case, they can be able not to allocate that money to the development. They will allocate it to other, what they are calling empowerment or other businesses they do. In this case, to bring votes to their side. They can start a project here, then another project here, another project here. So in the long term, they are just wasting the money allocated to them. Yes.
Now, when you look at regions that are skewed or are aligned to the Kenya Kwanza administration, you realize that there is a lot of goodies going there, you know, in terms of empowerment programs, in terms of government-related projects, which in a view raises a lot of political eyebrows.
Exactly.
And people are reading to it that it will be used as a tool in the next coming general election. Is that true, Mr. Moses?
Yes, true.
How?
I believe that, let me start with the part you are talking about the county government first. I believe that the major impediment to development in these counties is high rate of corruption. Apart from high rate of corruption, even if the EACC, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, is going after the so-called corrupt governors, it entails a political witch hunt strategy, whereby if I'm the president, then there is a governor who is no longer supporting me. And this we have seen. We have witnessed this since the devolution came into place in 2013. So that as much as there is high rate of corruption, we need another independent oversight body or authority to take over, if
Right.
possible, to work together.
EACC is independent, right?
Yes, EACC is independent, but even if it's independent, the fact that it does depend entirely on the government for its budgeting processes makes it not independent. The fact that its boss is being appointed by a body, which has again been appointed and approved by a group of politicians, make it not totally independent.
Now, you see, there's a lot of things that you've said that are currently not true. But of course, you need to understand that the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission is a constitutional commission.
Yes.
How the members of that team are being appointed is outlined in the Constitution. Of course, this is a country and there will be a lot of political games and gimmicks here and there.
Yes.
But the process is constitutionally approved.
True.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, owing to how they operate, that is what raises a lot of eyebrows.
True.
You know?
Yes.
And that will lead me to ask you guys, you both, do you think that as much as Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission draws its coffers from the National Treasury, it is independent?
True.
Do you believe that it is independent?
No, I don't believe it's truly independent. We've seen interference. I believe when a body is independent, like we can say a body of professionals in this country, like we know several professional bodies, for that case we can say it's independent. The Kenyan, even the judiciary itself, because we have seen some of the corrupt politicians being dragged to court, it's no longer independent. Have a look at whereby the presidency has a role when it comes to promotion of judges.
No, that's not true.
Yes,
He
it has a
only
role during President Uhuru Kenyatta's time. You remember the 41 judges
I remember.
who were supposed to be approved.
Yes. That's correct.
The fact that executive has a mask in the judiciary doesn't mean or doesn't make some of these institutions to be truly independent. Apart from that, we are seeing a situation whereby the political tension in the country, as opposed to the free will of the people. Every time we have a political situation in the country of this like, it's very true that for a body to be totally independent, its members should constitute of individuals duly appointed by another independent body.
Now, Mr. Nehemiah, you can just
Yes,
come in here.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of things that have been said here. In as far as independence of Constitutional Commission is concerned,
Yes.
do you think that they are truly independent? And if so,
Yes.
are they a stumbling block in terms of allowing some of the cases? For example, we're seeing the judiciary, that there are some of the governors who probably are not aligned to the government and they are being taken, Kamata Fridays and everything. Do you believe that they are independent, especially from the presidency?
Okay, I believe that maybe they are partially independent, not fully. Sometimes they can be coerced or manipulated to do some certain jobs or certain intentions from the executive. And this makes them biased in a way that also frustrates, whereby the money or the resources will be used well.
Okay, that's true, and I think we gonna touch on that much.
Yes.
You see, during campaigns, we always have a lot of promises. And I think that's where we started this conversation.
Yes.
And politicians do promise to deliver, they promise heavens, but they deliver not something close.
Yes.
Do you think that we can have a system that can hold politicians accountable, and if they don't match up to the standard, then they resign, or we just get rid of them?
Yes, I believe. And let me predicate that statement to an African proverb that says that never trust and believe promises made by a naked man. Our politicians are like naked men in this scenario. They'll give you a promise, but as soon as they've been elected, you as a voter, you have the mandate to forget about the promise. That's whatever is there on the ground. But I do believe we can have an oversight body, a very independent one, apart from the people. the people or the voters should be the first primary independent oversight body. In that, if you perform poorly, then most probably they should never make another mistake of electing you after 5 years. Yeah. On top of that, or in addition to that, I think the government should come up with an independent body which is going. When we talk about this oversight, we should focus much more on funds and development. So that if you receive 150 million CDF money from the government, this oversight body should come in now to check how you have used it. And in case we have cases of corruption, and in case we have such cases, then they should be brought to book.
What's the role of the Auditor General?
The role of the Auditor General is to do that, in fact. But in the recent now, we are going down the pyramid when it comes to full independence and oversight authority. The first priority should be given to the people. These people should never vote you in again after doing that. And I think that's where we miss the link. We have the missing gap. Because, you know, the main effect in our politics, in the Kenyan context, is money and politics. So that if I'm an area MP, I do bad things, even the more I'm corrupt, the high chances of being re-elected.
Now let me, Mr. Nehemiah, come in here. Bad manners and lies have cropped up in our political space. Sure. You say this, you do this. You say that, you do this. Yes. Can we trust our politicians?
It's very hard to trust them because they are corrupt in a way that for us to, as voters, in fact the problem starts with the voters, for us to put them in office, they must give us something. So when they get there, they now want to get their money back or what they gave to the voters. So this one can be, the politicians can be checked in a system or a situation whereby you put a parliament that is very powerful, and I support one of our leaders, who is Raila Amolo Odinga, right honorable, that they should just be left with the oversight role. If they're engaged in monies and other things like CDF, this makes them also to have their hands tied, because also them, they are dealing with the money. So following the constitution and to implement it properly, like for example, recalling an MP, following due process to impeach them, this one will teach them manners, and they will be able to conduct themselves in an orderly manner and with decorum.
All right, now thank you so much. Just hold on that thought. We want to take a short commercial break. Sure. And we are having our beautiful guests here, Mr. Nehemiah and Mr. Moses, to help us unpack this issue, the nexus of development and politics. Where can we draw the line? Is it blind enough, or we can't just handle it? Stay tuned. That conversation coming next.
Remove my skin and I won't cry, but you might. What am I? Are you still practicing art ukifanya your engineering? Umezimix ama umeenda tu fully on art? Sasa najua, hebu kwanza tutajia, because najua wezi tajia wote. Just some of the people wenye, some of the celebs wenye umeweza ku reveal your art to them.
J. Kroba, wimbi yake. Hiyo siku walifurahia mbaya. Na mimi nilikuwa emotional mbaya sana.
Lilia.
Go and check that video, guys. Nililia mbaya.
I was seeing kuna place ulikuwa unasema like Bien alikusaidia sana in building your career. Unaweza tuambie hiyo moment when ilikuanga?
We.
Topic of discussion leo is a hustle culture. Hustle culture, and this is working smart versus working hard.
Working hard is where nina hustle. I'm working like a donkey.
Unaweza pata maybe ulisoma, yes, maybe kumaliza shule, maybe hii inahitaji maybe diploma, maybe ulifika certificate level. So I feel pia knowledge inachangia sana.
Yes,
watu kukua kwa informal.
You have to like plan. You also have to delegate, and it also sometimes about convenience. What is convenience for you?
Tunaweza work smart hata kama ni kwa informal jobs. Tuki apply your working smart, we can do something si lazima tu ikuwe ni kazi ile uko chini.
I'm picking Adele. What? Call your mom or dad and sing the chorus of their favorite song loudly. Mama Vanessa,
Just a sing.
we are live on TV. I need to.
Which TV?
GBS TV. I'm on the youth hub and they want me to sing you a song. I've been dared to sing your favorite song. So
Don't sing that one, man.
no.
Sing yours.
No, I will sing a nice one. I know many of your songs.
Sing that song.
I sing Daddy's song, fine.
Loudly, please.
I love you.
Shout.
You're my baby. I love you. You're the best. Bye, mommy. Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know.
Mahali ambapo nakukaribisha tena kwa mpigo tena zaidi kila siku ya Jumamosi. Unazidi kuungana nasi.
Ukiangalia Real Betis walianza kwa moto sana
Ndani ya Sports Sugu, mahali ambapo tunakuelimisha na tunakujuza mengi kuhusiana na mambo ya kandanda sababu hapa nchini Kenya, ligi kuu nchini Uingereza, mahali ambapo ni Uhispaniola, Ujerumani, Ureno, kila kitu inakuwa iko swadakta kabisa.
Everywhere, GBS.
Now, welcome back to The Insight. I am Emmanuel Oma and I'm still here with my guests, Mr. Moses and Mr. Nehemiah Kiarie, to help us unpack the big question tonight, development and politics. Where can we draw the line? Now, gentlemen, our country has been having a lot of blueprints in terms of development. We had Vision 2030, we're still having Vision 2030, and now more recently, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, better known as BETA, by the Kenya Kwanza government. These blueprints are very good documents, but the implementation of the same isn't quite good. Do you think that it is time that our leaders, or rather political leaders, is there how we can mold them to make sure that they focus on this development agenda so that we realize them, Mr. Nehemiah?
Yes, we can. The leaders are the reflection of the society. In this case, if you put leaders that have good intentions, their states that they want to transform the country, they want to empower the people, they want to improve the infrastructure, they want to improve the living standards of the people, we can be able to achieve the blueprint of the transformation agenda to the people. Like we have seen in some constituencies, like we have Mumias, we have Murang'a County, they are doing well. So if we first look the leader we are checking, then we can be progressive in our development.
Now, Mr. Moses, what is the role of a political leader in a failure or success of our development plan? For example, Vision 2030, yes, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda.
Yes, I believe our leaders do have a lion role to ensure success in our endeavor towards development. And apart from the fact that every implementation works on policy, whose our leaders are the primary subjects in, we must ensure that the kind of development we have, the Vision 2030, the Africa Agenda 2063, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, is directly linked to sustainable development goals. Remember, when I talk about this, apart from the implementation, they do have a role. Personally, I can trust some of the politicians with achieving this development. Like Nehemiah has just said, we have some of the constituencies. A very good example, Embakasi East, Mumias East, yes, and even Murang'a County. They have succeeded in tossing the caps over the walls of food security efforts, education, and healthcare. I do trust these people. So I think what to do, some of them, not all, should continue working tirelessly towards independence of the House to guide form very proper policies towards implementation However, we do have a challenge. And the challenge we have, just like I said, these are sustainable development strategies totally linked to political activities. However much I trust our politicians with achieving the development, I think they should appoint more of professionals in helping them, in ganging up their team towards achieving the total development. But I totally agree, some of them has succeeded in doing so, some of them are also learning. We must also, by the way, do not blame our leaders every time.
Now, Mr. Nehemiah, the conflict between short-term political ambition and long-term development goals is something that we can't hide from.
Exactly.
How can we manage that, and can we draw a line, or can we bridge that?
It's manageable in the sense that if we have leaders who are managers, they are not after their political ambitions, we can be able to sustain that the long term. But we have politicians, most cases, who are for self-interest. They are not for the people. Then the short-term interest will be over the long-term agenda of development.
So can we do a lot of voter education onto the type and kind of leaders that we would like to see in charge of our resources?
Exactly. We should do the civic education, create awareness, and this has started with the Gen Z movement, whereby they have decided to change our way of political landscape and the governance, whereby they want leaders who are able to develop so that we can be able to be empowered rather than giving us incentives that are short term and they're not sustainable for a long term.
But even today, we have a lot of young people in different political positions in this country. Yes. When you look at their development records in terms of infrastructure, where they come from, in terms of education, you don't quite see much.
Exactly.
So that simply means that age-wise is not a factor.
True.
It comes from the heart, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And while on that, we need to realize that there's a lot of things that are happening in this country.
True.
A lot of things, especially government-wise, and just as so that we don't lose track of what we're discussing about, the development. For example, we had SHA, NHIF, now defunct, now SHA. The hospitals, the government is saying the hospital is working and SHA is working. Do you think SHA is working?
I don't believe so.
Why?
I don't believe so because me personally, I can't lie to the government. I've not, thank God, I've not been to the hospital recently. But for those who have been there, we have seen them decreeing that SHA is not working. But I believe we have a position, and we are in a position to make it work. In that, even when it comes to pumping a lot of resources towards SHA or even hospitalization, I think we do have some of the steps to follow. For instance, when it comes to maternity, I think there's some of the things which we can just do, by the way, to deliver to the people. Things like expanding the bed capacity, things like increasing the quality. And when it comes to SHA, I think the government should just be frank to tell us what's going on. If it's working, let them give us evidence. If it's not working, or for those, because what might work for some of the government officials might not necessarily work for us. So some of the government officials saying about SHA working, they do have some of the medical allowances, right?
True.
So that when I have even up to 10 million medical allowance,
exactly,
or some of the covers, medical covers, I'll go to the hospital with the SHA working or not. I'll still assess quality health, facility, and services. But what about the local mwananchi, especially down the pyramid in the rural areas?
No, you see, Mr. Nehemiah,
Yes.
there's a lot of leaders, especially in opposition, are up in arms against this SHA. It's one of the development in healthcare, one of the flagship project of the current administration.
Yes.
And you realize that they accuse SHA as a conduit of corruption.
Exactly.
You understand?
Yes.
So when that tag is labeled, then it brings us back to what is it in the corruption that derails development. Do you think corruption derails development, or is just a name just being thrown anyway and anyhowly?
Absolutely. Corruption delays development in such a way that the money should have been allocated to development is allocated to other things. On the issue of SHA, let me just go back to it because I am a subscriber to it, SHA. I can say it's working, but it's not helping. It's just I can say it's just an upgrade or a change of name from the NHIF because you find that when you go to the hospital, they can just pay for your consultancy or the card, but they cannot get ticket for the medicine, for the treatment. Maybe you go to the lab or any other. So I think according to the intention from the president, he said that this is a universal health coverage whereby it's supposed to, everyone, it's like a free health services, like supposed to cater for all the medical bills of a person. But we have seen it's just like the previous NHIF where you used just to pay this monthly subscription and then you go to the hospital, same story. There is no medicine, it can't pay for other bills, it just pays for some small things there like the card and the consultancy. So it's not fully helping the Mwananchi.
But we are going there.
Yes,
I think the government will make sure that it works for everyone.
Exactly.
Now, one of the pillars of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is the digital superhighway. And this one is simply put, it needs to incorporate more people in the digital space. But when you see that people using online platforms like social medias, there's a lot of push to gag them, you know. When you publish something, probably you might not know who is watching. Do you think that the government is missing the link here, Mr. Moses?
Yes, I believe the government is missing the link. This is a digital era whereby we are supposed to utilize our digital gadgets. However, I think the people are also going too much. I think we're supposed to control ourselves when it comes to social media and whatever we are doing online. But when it comes to digital superhighway, I do support it. It's a very bright idea because we cannot claim that Kenya wants to move towards a step of being a fully middle-income country by 2030 without fully realizing our digital and technological advancement and positioning ourselves in a good route, especially in the global south. So engaging technology and digital interventions in some of the very crucial sectors of the government will help to spur growth. But I think the government infringing much on the privacy of the individuals, especially in the public space, is unjust and uncalled for, having in mind that we have seen some of the victimhood, and some of the impediments, consequences after that.
Now, Mr. Nehemiah,
yes,
digital superhighway is a very good idea. It's a very good thing.
Yes.
But you find that we have, in the country, we have the Data Protection Act that protects your data from being infringed by people who you might not know. The government is wants to get to understand your data in terms of Kenya revenue allocation, what you transact on a daily basis, so that we can have that. Do you think this is going too far?
It's going too far because they're infringing on our privacy rights. You find that if they start monitoring everything that we do, then they are going overboard. I think they should allow space because in the digital world and the digital literacy, they should give the people the opportunity to air their views. And instead of gagging them up, they should just listen to the Mwananchi and respond to their call and act on the cry of the people.
Well, because there's a lot of things for now. Some of the things that will come up here is how free is the freedom of speech. Freedom of speech coming up here. Do you think that Kenyans are expressing themselves too much, or do you think they're going too far?
Okay, they're not going too far. It's just the normal, and also the Kenyans are in deep frustrations economically, socially, and also it's hard to make ends meet. It's frustrating to get a livelihood. So they're just airing out their frustrations. They're not going too far. And the government, since it doesn't have the intention to deal with improving the Mwananchi, it goes again to use the Kienyeji way of gagging them up and trying to cut that freedom of speech and silence the voice of the people.
So now, because this is one of the most agreeable way in terms of development-wise, since the government is not much ready to deal with whatever is happening online, do you think this is a rollback in terms of development-wise?
It's true. You find that in this case, I think the government is not so much updated. And I think in this 21st century, the youth are educated, they are equipped, they are knowledgeable, they are so much exposed in this digital literacy. So the government is left behind and they cannot catch up with the pace. And in this way, the youth are seeing them as they are backward and their development is too slow. So I think they should also upgrade in the sense that this one can hasten the development of the country.
You see, the digital superhighway was at the back of the mind of everyone was to harness the power of the youth in the country and to make sure that we put the digital space into good use. But some of the people see that the people who are using social media aren't putting it into good use. Yeah? And in so doing, you rub a lot of feathers, correct?
Yes.
And now that will bring me to ask the question that's next, that how far can we go?
I think this question can be answered in two ways. How far we as the people can go, and how far should the government go? And let me say it on the side of the people. The people are using the digital space to express themselves because their freedom of speech in one way or another has been altered. But the same way I said earlier, there is how far we should go as the people. Even if we continue keeping government in check, I think we should go directly to the point, we need this and this. And remember, in fact, very many jobless youths are even using social media as a method of making money. Some of them are content creators. And remember, content creation do prevail depending on the prevailing landscape in the country. Sometimes it can be economical matters, social matters, or political matters. So at a time like this, as much as we the people should consider what we post, especially on political matters and terms, the people should be given their free space. Because even in Chapter 4 of the Constitution of Kenya, talking about human rights, you have freedom of expression, but we do have limitations. So have your freedom, but limit it to an extent. On the side on how the government, or how far the government should go, I think the government, they do have the right and freedom to protect the country.
Correct.
If the people leak some of the very information in social media, which can have a very big threat to the national security, they can act. But the act, or the aftermath of that act, I think they should be so much considerate on that.
Yeah. No, you see, that is digital superhighway. Another pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda is agriculture. And just the other day, we saw a lot of privatization, or at least the government tried to privatize some sugar mills. And you realize that the governors or the leaders of those regions came out guns blazing that you can't do this. Now, is political activities standing between development that will benefit the people and short-term political ambitions of a politician? Mr.
Yes,
Moses?
I believe the short-term political ambition of leaders blurs development in the whole country. For the case you have just referred to when it comes to privatization of some of the sugar companies, and this is not only limited to this area. We saw some of the efforts towards privatization of even KICC, you remember, but the people rejected it. I'll say that some of the international organizations coming in to have this matter, this is just a method of colonialism and imperialism. We are free, but not yet fully free in this way. Africa, or Kenya to be specific, we have come a long way. And once we continue to privatize some of the public facilities and amenities, there is another way going step. Remember, several key individuals in this country even lost their life so that we can just be free. Why going back to this one? And the last thing on that, we don't know the intention behind all this. I do support privatization if it can make these companies to fully operate, or these state agencies. But let the government come full and tell us, be transparent, open, and tell us, we have a privatization deal for even up to 10 years. These are some of the objectives, and there are some of the terms and conditions for this. If that happens, if the objective and the terms and conditions will protect the view of the Mwananchi, then I do support that. If not, I can't support it.
Now, thank you so much, Moses, for that view. We'll be coming back with Nehemiah to give us some of her thoughts on the issue of privatization in terms of agricultural development in the country. This is still The Insight. I am Emmanuel Oma. We're taking a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Today is all about models. So girl Alison, you tuned into Art Club, the best art show in the whole of East Africa.
My name is Abigail Paula, but on my socials I go with Peaches Paula. Yes. I did procurement and logistics.
How do you deal with those negative comments? I'm a rejection.
Yeah.
How do you advise me?
But the heaviness of it, rejection is redirection.
Now you were crowned Miss Kenya UK.
Yeah.
Lakini before we get there, I want to know your journey towards that title.
Started with Miss Freshers.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I ended up being the first runners-up.
But what is the problem? The problem, people don't want to hear the voice of Jesus, and they don't want to live through the voice of Jesus. But most of the time, people are living their life of struggling. The people who died before receiving Jesus Christ, the people who died in sin, those people, they will go to the judgment, they will go to the fire, and those people will say that they are dead because they will face the second death, which is the hellfire. People without knowing this, people think that, no, I should do something. No, I need to do something. Why? Because they don't know exact heart of God. They don't know exact will of God. And through this, God allowed His goodness. God allowed the problems in our life. And when God allowed this goodness leads us to
Mahali ambapo nakukaribisha tena kwa mpigo tena zaidi kila siku ya Jumamosi. Unazidi kuungana nasi.
Ukiangalia Real Betis walianza kwa moto sana.
Ndani ya Sports Sugu, mahali ambapo tunakuelimisha na tunakujuza mengi kuhusiana na mambo ya kandanda, sababu hapa nchini Kenya, ligi kuu nchini Uingereza, mahali ambapo ni Uhispaniola, Ujerumani, Ureno, kila kitu inakuwa iko swadakta kabisa.
Everywhere, GBS.
Now, welcome back to the last stretch of this conversation. Mr. Nehemiah and Mr. Moses are still with me, still unpacking the nexus between development and politics. Now, before we went for a break, Mr. Nehemiah, I just wanted to get your insight as far as the government decided that they wanted to privatize some sugar mills.
Yes.
And the leaders in that region came out guns blazing, saying, no, you can't do this, this is our lifeline, and we're not letting you taking it. The government's view was that it wanted to empower the millers and the farmers in those specific areas. Do you believe, or do you think that political rhetorics stood in front of development that was to be taken to the millers and the farmers?
Okay, I think I believe that this one can be viewed in two angles. One, maybe the leaders who are politicizing the issue were benefiting in a way from these companies. And if they are seeing that it's now going to the private sector, they are seeing that now their cake is cut off. Another way I can see it, maybe they are sincere in their complaint against the privatization of these sugar mills or any other companies in a way that they view it as a business deal. whereby the company that is being offered the sugar mill or the factory to run it have a deal with the politician, whereby they receive kickbacks or any other benefits by giving them the company. So in this case, I still don't think the intention is to benefit the millers or the farmers and the area residents that are there. So I don't support it.
Okay, now that is done. So we have a political culture that that really does not prioritize inclusive development. There's a lot of things that happen. So for example, now, if you want to have a political movement that prioritizes inclusive development, sustainable development, especially at the grassroots levels, what can we do, Mr. Moses, for that?
Yeah, I think the first point I'll make is that we can achieve this, a political culture which prioritizes on development. And I think, let me support Nehemiah what he said. A leader is a reflection of the people. And I too said, we have money and politics as a culture of the Kenyan society. And this is why we do not elect leaders who are really for sustainable development. A situation whereby majority of the leaders who are being elected are not elected on the basis of manifesto. They are being elected on the basis who gave more money to the people. However, yes, as much as this is happening, there are several things we can do. I think with the change of Gen Z and the general change in political landscape of the country, we are seeing a move whereby we are coming from our old school political thought to a new school one. Remember, the Dale Carnegie Leadership School teaches us that start imagining yourself on your first day of retirement. And I think there comes a time when as a leader, you must begin imagining yourself. How will people view you, even after retirement? And at that time, now the sustainable development to leave your imprint will be the most important aspect of your tenure. So as a country, we are still in the process of evolving from money and politics to the new wave of Gen Z. As much as we are evolving, even in 2027, I still believe that the two houses of the parliament won't fully be occupied by people who are reasonably leaders.
Right.
Because
for you to be elected, you must be leader.
Yeah, no. We have a difference between a politician and a political leader. A politician is somebody who has a dream of maybe becoming an MP. You look for money, you campaign, you achieve your ambition. But a political leader, after being elected by the masses, you go down the pyramid and you say, my people need water, they need food, they need electricity supply. And you as a leader, it's now your responsibility of achieving it.
To make sure that happens.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Nehemiah, do you think we will ever achieve a political dispensation where sustainable development is top priority?
Yes, it will be achieved, but it will take some time. It will be achieved in a way that there is a change in our education system that enlightens the learners, which right now we have Generation Alpha and the Gen Z. So in this case, they have started to realize that these short-term benefits will not sustain them. So they have started to see, they have started to prefer, because they are so enlightened, the development of the infrastructure to improve their lives and to improve, to have a good economy will help them in a long term. It's starting as a revolution, which has started now by the Gen Z, but finally we are going to get there.
Do you think this is sustainable, the revolution of the Gen Zs?
It's going to be stopped or maybe silenced, but you can't kill the idea.
The real test for that will be the 2027 general election.
Exactly.
Now, another thing that I wanted us to talk about here is the flagship housing project. It's one of the development projects that the government is undertaking hugely, and it is one that has left tongues wagging, from people accusing it to people praising it, you know. Now that people are working in those sites, do you believe those the workers in those sites, is it sustainable? Will they work for the longest, Mr. Moses?
Yes, I can have a look at this in two different aspects. The fact that we do have the project, it has both the positive and negative impact to the people. And I think in this case, the positive impact far outweighs the negative impact. Because the only negative impact we have is that people are being taxed In fact, the levy is being drawn from their salaries.
Yeah, yes.
But in the same case, we have had several courts complaining about it. You remember? Now, when it comes to the positive case, I think if it's legal, then let it continue. If not, I think the government should just do the just job.
It's legal.
And
it's legal.
draw it.
It's legal.
Yes, but now when it comes to the positive, I think one of the aim of the housing projects is to eliminate slum. I believe that this is a good project. When you go down, in fact, even if our rurals are being considered as irredeemably victims of poverty, I believe urban poverty is far worse much as compared to rural one. And our people should be enlightened. In the global south, with the increasing population rate, increasing problems, increasing effect of food security, etc., it's a good idea. The housing project, I think it's a good idea in that it creates employment for several people. But I do have a question on this. The reason is this. We've had several governments since independence whereby when I'm the president, I go away, another president will come with the same idea, different kind of implementation. Another one will come, workers stop, another one will come with another idea. If we can just have a serious framework for implementation, then we all channel, not entirely all, but we channel most of these projects, housing projects, to urban areas, then I think it will be better.
But you realize, Mr. Nehemiah, that the last government of President Uhuru Kenyatta had the same idea, in fact implemented it through public-private partnership.
Exactly.
So what is the difference between the one that was undertaken by the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta and the one that is undertaken by the current President William Ruto?
Okay, I think the difference in this case, first, the one that has been undertaken by President William Ruto has been overhyped. It has been made to be so publicized, and I think, for example, in instance, when you go to Mukuru kwa Jenga, you had the residents there. They say they did not benefit directly in such a way they are not given those houses that some people from other places got into those houses. But it's benefiting the residents in such a way they are getting employment. It's growing the area. Maybe people can get something to sell to the people who are building there. So it's the same thing, but it has been implemented differently, as my friend is saying here. So that, but I don't think the real intention maybe is to benefit really the mwananchi. Maybe you get a house there, but who will benefit more is the government, in this case, the President William Ruto regime.
Okay. Yes. So there's a lot of things here to unpack, especially in this project.
Yes.
There are a lot of employment that has been done, especially to the youth, because the president said that one of the reasons why he did undertake that initiative is not only to give people houses, but also to give people jobs. Sure. But you realize that these jobs, if the houses, building the houses is done, then the jobs won't be there anymore, right?
True.
Exactly.
So is it sustainable in terms of job creation?
In terms of job creation, I think it's sustainable in short term, but not long term. So I think the government should just have, yes, I know the cases of housing problems will ever be with the increasing population. So I think if we can just have a platform or an agency working together with this, then it will be possible. Then we can say it's sustainable and long term in its ambition. If we can work on it in an orderly manner, just in an orderly manner. But if not, then it won't be sustainable.
Now, the opposition has been on record that they're saying that when they take power, they'll do away with the housing levy and most definitely give investors an environment that they may create those or build those houses. Which do you think, which is in terms of economics perspective and incentives, is the government supposed to build houses or provide an environment that will make people build houses?
Let me start with the fact that the ones questioning this are the opposition leaders.
Yeah.
And remember, majority of these opposition leaders have been in the government. So the first question is, the fact that they have been in the government, what were they doing with this? Two, when it comes to this, a government should create a better condition for both the people and the investors to be in a position to build, to construct such houses. However, in extreme ends, the government can come in to even build houses for the people. We have seen this working in some of the countries.
Let me see Nehemiah jump in there. Do you think, is it the role of the government to build houses or to create a conducive environment for its citizens to build houses?
They should create a conducive environment for citizens to build houses in such that they should provide the social amenities, good roads, maybe they should empower the people to give them loans and maybe to be able to attract investors to come and build the houses. But they can build the houses like where President Uhuru Kenyatta started, now it's President William Ruto, if it's going to be a long-term plan. Maybe you say all the governments will just come and build houses to people who have poor housing in all the cities or major towns to be able to improve the livelihoods of the people and their standards of living.
Oh, that's good. Yes. And this conversation is very interesting, but we are pressed on time. So, Mr. Moses, I'll just give you a minute to give us your parting shot on our topic today.
Yes, thank you very much. The topic, politics and development, is a very interesting topic indeed. Everything falls and fails on leadership. And having said so, it's that kind of a leader you choose, which is going to be the major determinant for the kind of development we have. Kenya, to be specific, we have come a long way from 1963 up to now. These 66 years, we must ask ourselves, when we compare our state in 1963 and now, have we achieved any meaningful development? If yes, it's good, let's continue with the same path. If not, we must go back to the drawing board and ask, where did the rain started beating us? Upon realizing where did the rain started beating us, we must ask ourselves, what's next? Or what are we supposed to do in terms of political leadership to ensure that our economy or any kind of meaningful development spurs in our region, in our country, for us to move towards the pace of achieving sustainable development goals.
Indeed. Now, Nehemiah, when did the rain start beating us? Your parting shots.
The rain started beating us when we are not following the Constitution. So in the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, there was the devolution, which is not being empowered. You find that now the national government is doing the work of the county government, and they are biased in such a way that they are developing areas that are loyal to the government. So our political system, we need to rethink about it. We need to be intentional with fighting for development and electing leaders who are manageable, who can develop us. I'll just end by saying the famous quote for Daniel Arap Toroitich. He says that siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. I thank you.
Sambaya Maishambaya, very interesting insight from the former president and now the late Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. Now this conversation is very interesting, and since we are very pressed much on time, it will be continuing in our social media platforms. Make sure you watch us on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, and of course Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, at GBS TV. My name is Emmanuel Oma, and this has been The Insight.
Everywhere, GBS.